Hey there, hope you are well and you've had a good Easter bank holiday weekend, and looking forward to hopefully learning a bit about building backlinks to your website, a bit of off-page SEO. So I'm just going to give it, excuse me, too early. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes to get started, just to allow people to join, and then we will get started. Obviously, if you're watching the recording, please do subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff on YouTube, just so that you're notified when we do actually start the live stream. Usually the live stream is on a Monday, but due to the bank holiday Monday and us being away, it's obviously now been moved on to today. But we will continue doing it on a Monday from next week. So be sure to be there for that one. So I don't think Monday's a bank holiday next week, but yeah, we'll be back anyway Monday next week, 11 o'clock. Not sure on the subject yet. So if you do have any questions, or you're wanting a training on a specific subject, please do feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll get creating that for next Monday. I might go into detail on one of the link building methods, or go into something like email marketing. So whatever you guys want to learn, let me know. As well, if you have any questions at all today, please do post them in the comments. More than happy to answer any questions that you've got, whether it's to do with building backlinks or affiliate marketing in general. Please do obviously let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Obviously, more niche, we've got the massive Citations lottery that has started. So obviously, keep a lookout for the draw on Saturday. So we're drawing out the winner for this week's prize, which is the Apple Watch. So check out YouTube videos for the more details on the Citations lottery. And this last weekend, we finished our 100% commission weekend for Brutal Force. So this weekend, we had actually a 4-day 100% commission weekend for Brutal Force. So some massive commissions being made through that. So yeah, let's get on with the training. Like I said, don't forget to ask any questions throughout, and I'll definitely get through to them. So building backlinks to your website. There we go. So here's just obviously what we're going to go through. We're going to go through introduction to building backlinks. We're going to go through some of the ways to build backlinks, backlink services, and also things that you need to consider when looking to build backlinks. So first of all, an introduction to building backlinks. Straight down to basics, what are backlinks? Backlinks are simply a link from one website to your own website. Typically, you can look at them as votes. So one website links to you counts as a vote in Google's eyes. And the more votes you have, in theory, the more authority your site is. And then therefore, it should rank higher. Obviously, different backlinks have different values, but the idea is to basically build backlinks to help increase the chance of your website ranking. And that's why you should, why build backlinks? It's because we want our sites to rank. They're going to be very hard to build backlinks. So it's going to be very hard for your site to rank if you don't have any backlinks. And this does go into the question of, should you build backlinks? And really the answer is yes. There are a lot of people, you've got the income score guys that basically don't claim that they don't build backlinks. They don't actively build backlinks, and they still rank. And it is possible to rank content and a website without building any backlinks. More often than not, it has to be in a low competition niche, or the keyword that you're targeting would be really long tail. So therefore it's a lot less competitive. So therefore a lot easier to rank without building backlinks. Obviously, if you're in a competitive niche, then you are going to need to build backlinks, because your competitors are building backlinks. So in order to compete, you're going to need to do that. Now, obviously, going on the income school guys, they don't actively build backlinks, but they do naturally occur backlinks. So as you're ranking your long tail content, and that's naturally going to build backlinks from people that are linking to it because it appears first on the search results. So you can build a website without building backlinks. It's just a long process, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of content, because you need to be writing, you know, hundreds of pages of content, all focusing on low competition long tails. So it is a much longer process. So the reasons we build backlinks is to help to not only speed up that process, but to also be able to compete in competitive niches. So there are risks to obviously building backlinks, naturally, and the biggest risk is that the site could get penalized if you know, Google sees any of those backlinks as suspicious or unnatural. Then it could get penalized. Usually that's going to be that piece of content and not site-wide. So there are some risks associated to building backlinks, but those risks really do not outweigh the benefits. Something that I see, you know, a lot of affiliates struggling with and suffer with is the worry of building links to their website because they don't want their site to get penalized. You know, I've been there before. One of my old sites, I would never build backlinks to it, and you know, for me, it was my baby, my project. I put a lot of effort into building that site. I didn't want to build backlinks, and therefore it was a slow, you know, it took a long time for it to actually start generating revenue. It took several years because it was just a case of writing content and content and content, and hopefully getting some that would rank for a long, you know, low competitive term. So you do kind of have to get rid of that fear and literally just start building backlinks to your website. You would see a lot better results because your site will become more of an authoritative, and therefore you'll be ranking higher and generating more sales. You just have to do it in a sensible way rather than just building backlinks for the sake of it. And that obviously mentioned before, whether or not all backlinks are equal, and they're not. So, you know, some backlinks are going to be more valuable than others. You know, if you get a backlink from John the Plumber's website and your website is about fitness, and you get a backlink from BBC, the BBC one's going to be more valuable. It's higher authority and it would be more relevant coming from, you know, if it's a weight loss article, for instance. So not all backlinks are equal. So you do need to be thinking about the different types of backlinks that you get in and where they're coming from. And that leads us into what should you look for in a backlink. So most people look, you know, when you're building backlink, you look into the DR or the DA, which is basically the domain rating or the domain authority. And these are basically numbers that SEO software such as Ahrefs provide to tell you how authoritative a website is. And a lot of people will look at that and be like, right, I need a DA site of 80. That's going to bump my site up. And, you know, in theory, a DA 80 site is authoritative, but you can easily build DA on a site within a few weeks. It's not, you know, it's not a clear indication of a good backlink. So we're going to go through obviously some backlink methods. So what you want to be thinking about every time you build backlinks is the domain authority, the referring domains. So this is basically you have the backlink that's coming to your website, and then that backlink also has backlinks to it. So they're often coined as tier 2 links. So you want your backlink to be having referral domains. And then the next thing that it needs to be having is traffic. So if you have a backlink from a site that has referring domains and has traffic, then that is potentially a really good domain to go after, a backlink to go after. because it's already getting traffic, it's already indexed, it's already being crawled. So I would always look at those three things when looking to build backlinks. And then the age-old question of no follow versus do follow. So when you have a link, you can add a tag to it, no follow, do follow, and obviously now there is the sponsored tag as well for affiliate links. So basically, when you build a backlink, you have a link juice that throws through that backlink to the website. If you do a no follow tag, then in theory that doesn't follow through. If you do a do follow, it does. There's debate on whether they still take no follows into account, but you do need to consider that, and you do make sure that whenever you build backlinks, you don't just go for do follow backlinks. You have a nice varied amount of no follow and do follow because you want it to be natural. So some of the ways to build backlinks to your website, we have citations, we've got blog comments, guest posts, niche edits, skyscraper, broken backlinks, resource link building, and pbns. There are obviously other methods as well, but these are some of the more popular and more well-known methods. And it's all about obviously relevance. And I would personally look at building a collection of all of these. You know, we see a lot of affiliates that will focus on just one type of link building, which to be fair looks fairly unnatural. So I'm going to go through these different methods now. So first of all, we have citations, and citations are typically used for local SEO. So if you have a local business, say in Nottingham, we have Best Plumber Nottingham. They would typically look at building citations because it has your which is name, address, phone number. So citations are pretty much the bread and butter, you know, the main backlinks that local businesses will build for local SEO, and they're pretty much directories. So the business directories, you'll have say a Nottingham business directory, you might have a plumber's business directory, and it's basically them just listing their business, and they'll have their name, address, phone number on there. And not many people do these for worldwide websites, typically affiliate websites. And I've started testing doing more citations to my own sites just because they are low cost and they are kind of like foundation backlinks. You know, they're relatively safe because these are kind of backlinks that businesses will build naturally. And having your name, address, and phone number shows Google that you're have some form of authenticity, you're willing to share details about your business, you look like a real business rather than a typical affiliate website that hides all of this information. So by building citations, you're showing that you are a real business, and therefore there's a, you know, in help build your overall domain authority. Now, most of these links, as I see in the cons, are going to be mostly no follow, and they're not very authoritative. You know, they're not going to be backlinks that can suddenly bump you up the search results. But what these are going to be is they're going to be safe, low cost, and your foundation backlinks that are going to help improve the overall authority of the site, which is just going to help strengthen what you can do with other backlinks and helping to keep your site safer because it looks more like a real business entity and not just a, you know, a quick affiliate site that's been put up and hiding behind anonymity. You know, you're showing yourself as a real business. So as I've gone over, pros: low cost, fairly safe, build overall domain authority, and the cons is that they're mostly going to be no follow and they're not very authoritative. Now, when it comes to the cost, you can actually build them for free yourself. It just takes a hell of a lot of time, but there are services like SEO Butler, which build citations, and I think it's like $30–40 for 30 of them. So in comparison to other backlinks, they are fairly low cost. And like I say, any questions throughout, just feel free to post them in the comments. And speaking of comments, I've got blog comments. So blog comments are basically, commenting on blogs and linking back to your site, typically with the name, as a blog would then link back to your website. And this method that's been around for years and years, and it's taken a lot of hits. They're less valuable, less people do them. And in fact, a lot of people will not do them at all. Personally, I still do blog comments, and I'm not going to say that they're going to massively help your site rank, because again, they're not. They're going to be very similar to citations. They help to build your overall domain authority. They help to build your brand. Because the thing is doing blog commenting is that it's a natural way of building backlinks. It doesn't appear false. It doesn't, you're not buying backlinks. You're naturally doing what businesses would do. They would go to websites that are in the same industry that they have an interest in, and they engage with that community. That's what bloggers do. If you look at the food blogs, I've been doing food blogs for many years, and if you look at them, they have massive websites with lots of links, a lot of domain authority, and they're able to compete with some big websites. And the reason why is because they have a wide range of backlinks. And one of those big, massive ways of building backlinks is blog commenting. They're going to websites that have similar recipes, commenting, about that recipe. They're actually engaging with the people in there. And that is a massive natural way of building backlinks. And that's why I still do that. I wouldn't say it's my main way of building backlinks, but it is definitely something that I try to do on a weekly, monthly basis. And the good thing about them is they're free, so they don't cost anything but time. You just have to find relevant backlinks, relevant blogs, and comment on them. It improves your overall brand authority because people start learning more about your brand and you and your expertise within a niche, if you're going on there and answering questions. And it also builds your overall domain authority. Again, like the citations, it's kind of your foundation links that are going to help to strengthen your backlinking profile. The cons, they're mostly no follow. So by default, a lot of them are no follow, but I still go after the no follows, as I've said. They're not very authoritative because they're in the comment section and not in the actual content. There are a lot less authoritative, so there's less power in that link juice that's coming through. So therefore, obviously, they are lower value. Okay. Oh, just realized I've not had it on the chat, so I am putting chat on now. So I've got some questions here. So discovered currently not indexed. What's the problem of Search Console? So currently not indexed. What's the problem? So it could be simply a case that Google has obviously found the content and it has just not yet indexed it or found a place with it in the indexing. It can take a little bit of time. I've personally noticed a bit of a delay in pages being indexed. I've got some that are still not indexed, and what you want to do is just make sure that those sites, those pages are indexable, so they're not set as no index. You want to make sure you've submitted your sitemap to the Google Search Console, and make sure you've got obviously internal links going to those pages. So, on your home page, make sure you've got some links going to them pages for the crawlbot to obviously follow. If it's a relatively new site, then it might just take a bit of time for it to actually index all of those pages. But continue building your site, building your content, and just making sure that it is all set to follow, and eventually it should crawl in there. What is leg pulling SEO? I've never heard of leg pulling SEO. That sounds like joke SEO. I've not heard of that personally. I'll have a look and get back to you. Never heard of leg pulling SEO. So yeah, well, I'll get back to you on that. But it definitely does sound like a joke when you pull someone's leg. Cool. So that's blog comments. Guest posts. Guest posts are probably one of the most common and well-known link building methods. And it's simply contacting websites and offering to write a piece of content for a link back to your website. And there's been a lot of debate on whether or not Google still, acknowledges guest posts or penalizes for using guest posts. And it doesn't. I really don't think it does. Still see lots of websites using guest posts. I use them myself. It's just a case of doing them properly and finding the right places to do guest posting. So there are a lot of websites which have, the typical write for us pages where they're actually looking for people to do guest posts, and it's those sites that I would probably stay away from myself. I would find websites that are in my niche, that don't advertise accepting guest posts, and basically just reaching out to them and contacting them and offering them a guest post, and actually have a good quality written guest post, and yeah, just do the outreach and get them naturally. That's seen a lot better results doing it that way than following the typical write for us. What you have to bear in mind is that a lot of these sites that have the write for us kind of stuff potentially have been penalized by Google for having a lot of content that contains a lot of outbound links, and therefore making that backlink less effective. So guest posting, when done right, can be a really effective way of building backlinks. The pros of it is that it tends to be an authoritative backlink, so it will be in the actual content of the article, so it'll be in the body content, so it'll be contextual. So that is one of the best types of backlinks that you can get, because it is contextual, and it is also going to be hopefully niche relevant. There's no point posting a guest post on a non-niche relevant website. You want relevant links, so I would find a relevant website to do that. Now you can think outside of the box, so it doesn't necessarily have to be right on your topic. So a while back, I had a archery website, and I could have gone to other archery websites to get backlinks from, do a guest post from. Whereas what I did is go to activity websites. So I found a website that does outdoor activities for kids and wrote a guest post to them on archery and got a link post back that way. So even though it's not on the exact niche of archery, it's still within that kind of overall topic. So you want topical, niche relevant backlinks. Now the cons to them is that they can be expensive. So a lot of these places will charge you to place that content and the backlink. The higher the authority can result in it being more expensive, because if they get a lot of these requests, they can obviously charge a lot more. They can charge up to a couple of £100 depending on the authority of it. And this is the downside of this. Another downside of going for those typical write for us kind of websites, because they know they can make money from these links. Whereas if you go into the ones that don't advertise accepting guest posts, then there's a good chance that they don't actually know that they can charge for these things. Excuse me. And then obviously it can be risky if it's done incorrectly. So, if you are contacting and getting guest posts on non-niche related sites, then that is not going to necessarily be great. If you're also going after, you're not looking at the overall website, so you're not looking at their backlinking profile, you're not looking at how they're performing on an SEO side, then you could end up getting a backlink a guest post on a website that is then hit by Google, and then therefore it offers you very little value. So you definitely want to just look at where you're offering that guest post and just doing that little bit of pre-research. Next, we've got niche edits, and niche edits is one of the types of backlinking that we don't see many of our affiliates doing, and we don't see too many other affiliates doing as well. And it's basically where you're actually contacting sites that already have content up and running that is relevant to your niche, and actually just contacting them and asking for a backlink. Normally you would pay for it. It'll be a paid service. So you would basically go to them and say, I see you've got this piece of content on foods that boost testosterone. I have this article on foods that kill testosterone. Will you link back to it for X amount? And that can work really well. And it's a really good, powerful way of building backlinks for several reasons. They are authoritative backlinks. So again, they're going to be contextual. They're going to be in the best place for passing the most value. They're not going to be in the navigation, the sidebar, the footer, the comments. They're going to be in the actual body of the content. They're going to be niche relevant because you're going to be contacting websites that are relevant to your niche. But more importantly, the content is already established. So it is content that is already up and running, hopefully getting traffic, because you want to be targeting those that are getting traffic or have backlinks built to them. And that is going to prove to be a lot better than a brand new piece of content. If you're submitting a guest post, that piece of content goes live. It's got no traffic to it, it's got no backlinks to it, it's not been crawled, whereas an already established piece of content is going to be a lot more valuable. And the cons to that is that it can obviously be expensive, it's risky, again, if done wrong. So you need to do that pre-research into the site that you're contacting, getting the backlink from, making sure that they're a good authoritative website. They're not going to suddenly get hit by a Google update. And you also need to avoid hacked niche edits. So there's two types of niche edits. There's the ones that I'm talking about where you contact them and do the outreach and get a link put on the site. And then there is also niche edits where there are services that use hacked websites and inject your link into it that way. So those need to be avoided. They're not, you don't want to go for that method at all. And that's why I would recommend doing niche edits on a more manual basis, or with a link building service that you know really well. And then next we've got Skyscraper. So Skyscraper is very similar to niche edits. It's basically where you're contacting somebody that already has a piece of content on their website, and you are trying to back to your piece of content that is relevant to that piece that they've got up. And the difference between Skyscraper and niche edits is that niche edits is what you would typically do to pay for that link. You're contacting them purely to link to your site, whereas with Skyscraper you're not necessarily paying, but you're providing a resource for them to actually link to. So an example of this is if you find a website that's linking to one of your competitors' articles, then you would basically contact them and say, I see you're linking to this site from this piece of content. I've just published this same piece of content, but added this, which makes it better. Would you be willing to link to me as well? And the results vary, but that way you tend to do it for free, and it doesn't actually cost you in terms of paying for the link itself. Again, the pros to this is that it's an authoritative link. It's in the content, the main content. It's going to be niche relevant because you're going to be actually contacting them because of the niche that they're in, and it's going to be already established content. So it's going to have traffic, it's going to have backlinks. The cons is that it can be expensive, not in terms of paying for the link, but actually creating the content that they're going to be linking to, because you may not necessarily have that content written. You've created that content specifically to build these type of backlinks. And then it's obviously also time consuming. So it takes time to actually go out and build these backlinks, do the outreach, create the content, do the outreach, which often there's several pieces of outreach to do. So it is time consuming, but it can, obviously be worthwhile. Next, we have broken backlinks. And these are basically when you look at a website and they're linking out to a competitor or a resource that's related to your niche, and the link is actually broken. So it's providing a 404 on that website. And like I say, more often than that, that's your competitor. So what I would do is I would contact the owner of the site and just say, I've noticed you're linking to this piece of content. They seem to have removed it. It's a 404, not offering any value to your visitor. I have a similar piece of content. Would you be willing to swap the link to my piece of content? And a lot of the times they will, because they don't want to be sending links to a 404. Benefits is that it's niche relevant, so it's obviously relevant to your website. And again, it's already established content. The downsides to it is that it is time consuming. It's very time consuming looking for these broken backlinks. It can take a lot of time. A good tip of doing it is to look for expired domains that are relevant to your niche and see who are linking back to that expired domain. But it is time consuming, and most of the time they don't ask for money, but sometimes they may ask for some money to deal with the time of actually changing the link. It might only be $20, $30, but there's that to just bear in mind. Got a question. So, is it good for creating micro authority blog backlinks for each micro niche of a mother niche? So, creating micro authority backlinks for each micro niche. So if you could explain a little bit more, I'm presuming that you mean more like a PBN, so actually creating a micro blog. Well, creating a micro blog, so say a blog on a very small subtopic, and then linking that back to the main topic. You can do that, but you need to make sure that there's no footprints, because obviously it has to be on a separate host, separate domain registration. You don't want to be logging into both the same, because you don't want to be having that footprint to Google that you own both of them. And also the micro niche, the micro authority blog would have potentially very little SEO value if you've not built backlinks to that as well. So you're in effect creating two websites, and that's a lot of time and a lot of resources, whereas you could just build the one website and build backlinks externally, if that makes sense. So the next one is resource link building, and this is one that I've had quite a bit of success with in terms of a hobby site. So again, my archery. And what resource link building is basically when you create a useful resource, like a learning guide, a training guide, and then you actually contact relevant websites that have a resource section on their blog, on their website. So useful resources, top resources, and they then link back to resources within that niche, and you can basically contact them, say you've got this resource, would they be interested in linking to it? And like I said, did it with the archery site, where I would basically contact archery clubs and have on my website a how to do archery, contact them and get them to link through to the resource. And resource pages are a very old way of doing websites. You tend to, it's a very interesting thing where you'd have a resource page, and link back to your top resources, but they do still exist and people still do them. So it's definitely a good way of potentially building backlinks. It doesn't necessarily have to be a resource page, but it can work really well if you've got this resourcing and link back to it. The pros are if it's niche relevant, already established website and content, so it's already getting crawled, low cost, and also tends to be free. All the backlinks that I got from this, I think there was around about 20 or 30, completely free, didn't cost me a penny. The cons is obviously it's time consuming. It does take a lot of time to obviously create the resource and then actually go out and find resources. I mean, the best way of doing it is putting in the niche in Google plus resource, that kind of variable to get results. So it is time consuming and the value varies. So, if you've got the archery one particularly, a lot of those were small hobby sites, so therefore they didn't have a lot of domain authority, so the actual value does vary. You may get a really good one and you may get 10, 20 not so good ones, but it's a good variation, so I would always do that. So you just want to bear in mind that the time and the value might vary. And then we have PBNs. So this is probably, again, one of the most common ways that people will build backlinks, and it's probably also one of the most risky ways of building backlinks. And basically a PBN is a private blog network. So it's basically a network of blogs that all work together to build up the authority of that network, and then they link out through to your money page, and that helps to pass all that link juice across and build up the power and boost up your own authority. So PBNs can be incredibly powerful because they're built in a way to manipulate that link juice and the link flow to push that link juice through to your website. So they can be incredibly powerful, and they're also built to be niche relevant. The constant that the value does vary. So, you get services that sell PBNs, and you can get really good PBNs, you can get really poor quality PBNs. And so you just got to bear that in mind, that just because you're using a PBN doesn't guarantee you results. It does take time and a lot of research to actually find a good provider of PBNs. The time and cost to produce is huge. So if you're going to make your own PBNs, which are the best type of PBNs when done properly, it will take time and it will take money. You've got to deal with hosting and domain registration and all of that stuff for all of these different entities within the PBN. And it is a risky link building method. It's probably one of the more riskier link building methods. Not necessarily your own if you've done them properly, but if you're using a service, then purchasing a PBN or getting a link from a PBN can be very risky. Not so much for your website. So sites tend not to get penalized because they're using a PBN. What tends to happen is you've got these PBN links, your rankings go up, the PBNs get hit by the Google algorithm. The links might get disavowed, they might get ignored, and then therefore your ranks drop because those links are no longer effective. It's not because you've been penalized, it's because those links are no longer effective. So what a lot of people tend to do is build up their authority with PBNs and then start building more natural white hat backlinks, and then slowly turn the PBNs off to retain that authority. So they can, like I say, they can definitely be incredibly powerful. It's just you need to do them correctly and just do your research on the different services if you're going to use a service. There's a lot of training on creating PBNs. Personally, I don't do a lot with PBNs. I'm testing a couple of link building services that have built some PBN links. So I'll keep updated on that, but I don't tend to do too much with them. And then just a final couple of things. So things to consider when building backlinks is, again, like I said, the quality of the backlink. So you want to be looking at not just the domain authority, you want to be looking at the referring links and the traffic that those backlinks are getting. You know, if you've got 2 backlinks, you've got both of them are DR30. You've got one here that's just the backlink, links to your site, no traffic, no referring domains. But then you've got this other backlink which has backlinks pointing to it, which is going to fuel it up because the link juice from those backlinks is going to this backlink, and then that one is linking to you. That's going to be a lot more powerful than the previous one. And it's going to be a lot more powerful than even a higher DR one, because you've got the second tier links that are just powering that up. So you want to be looking for or building backlinks that have backlinks. And one good way of doing that is by, you know, if you get a really good guest post or you get a really good skyscraper link to your website, then you may then want to look at building some backlinks to that backlink just to power it up even more and give you that extra link juice, extra authority. And that can work really well. And that can also be where you might put your slightly less trustworthy backlinks. They might go to your backlink and just help you that way. And then you're not going to get affected by any necessary penalizations to those initial backlinks, those second tier ones. So you want to consider that. You want to consider, again, the types of backlinks. So no follow, do follow. You don't just want do follows, you want a mixture of the two. You want to make sure that you have the backlinks going to a varied amount of sources. So they're not just going to your money pages, because that is evident of some kind of link building, link paying method, paid links. So if all of your links are going to your money pages, it looks really suspicious. The majority of your web or your backlinks would go to your homepage. It's more natural to be getting links to your homepage or informational content, and then you'd use internal linking through to your money pages. So you obviously just want your link building to obviously be as natural as possible. Obviously, backlinking services, there are services out there that can help you to build backlinks. I would just recommend you do a lot of research on them, read independent reviews, you know, join Facebook groups that are in SEO and see what services are being recommended and what ones that people have used. And just bear in mind that not all of the services are equal. I would never use Fiverr to build main backlinks to my website, never. You know, you're going to be paying a service a good couple of $100 per link for potentially a good quality backlink. So you just want to do your research on the different link building services. And something I did mention on the things to consider is you want to make sure that you've got consistency. So you don't just want to be building 100 backlinks today and then none next week and none for the next few months, and then all of a sudden 500 backlinks. You want to be consistent about it. It needs to be a part of your marketing plan. So what I tend to do is, for my website, I'll write a piece of content on a weekly or every week, and then the rest of the week I'll be looking at building backlinks. So it's coming out on a consistent basis to kind of drip feed in the backlinks to my site. So you want to make sure you're doing that, not just doing sudden link building campaigns and then nothing for the next few months. And then the final thing is disavowing links. So Google released a tool to allow you to disavow links that are no longer or that you feel are hurting your website. I have personally never disavowed any links. It varies on who you speak to on whether you should disavow links or not. My main thinking is, if I'm not seeing any manual actions, if I know that backlink is not hurting me because there's no manual action, then I will unlikely disavow it. Because the thing is it could be helping your site and you may not realize it, and you may just disavow because you're paranoid or worried that it is impacting your site, or it could simply be ignored by Google. A lot of the time Google do just ignore what they consider spammy links, so they could just be ignoring it anyway. So I would personally only disavow links if I have a manual action, or if I know 100% that a link is hurting my website. excuse me. So that's it really. That is building backlink for your website. Hopefully it's giving you some, some things to think about, some things to consider. I do honestly think building backlinks is essential. It's something that, every website needs to do when it's in a competitive niche. But it's all about building them naturally and building them like a business. It's not just a case of thinking about a backlink to get your rankings up, to get you more sales. You need to think about your website as a business. You want it here for the long term. So you need to do it appropriately and think what is going to actually be beneficial for your business in the long run. So there we go. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to pop them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer. And obviously if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that lovely good stuff to get you knowing more when I post another video. Hopefully maybe on Wednesday I'll be posting a video, but that's only tomorrow, isn't it? So we'll see, hopefully. But yeah, so hopefully that's helped answer any questions about backlinks. So I'll just give it a couple more minutes and then for any questions to pop through. And the best news is in 2 weeks I get a haircut, so my COVID hair will be gone and I will have short hair. But then the downside to that is I will realize how much weight I've put on my face because my hair will be shorter. So then that won't be good. So backlinks are rubbish and it's best to get solo ads. No. Backlinks are definitely not rubbish. You definitely need backlinks to build obviously authority in a competitive niche. If the niche is competitive, then you definitely need backlinks. You can do a lot with internal linking and on-page SEO, but if the search results are full of niche relevant websites that got the same content as you and they have higher authority because they've got more backlinks, then you're going to need backlinks as well. And the amount of backlinks that you're going to need to produce and create or get and acquire is the same as what your competitors got, or more or better quality ones. So yeah, I definitely aren't rubbish. If that's what you meant. Anytime. Hopefully soon I'll have an office to work into as well, rather than the dining room. Be a bit more comfortable soon. So I'll give it another minute if any more questions pop up. Like I say, next Monday I'll do a question here. So backlinks still working? Yeah, 100%. You definitely still need backlinks. Backlinks are always going to be an important factor of ranking a website, because it's one of the biggest ways of Google knowing whether a website is authoritative or not. You can have amazing on-page SEO, you can have amazing content, you can have amazing EAT, you can have all of that stuff, but so can other websites. So the one differentiating factor is backlinks. So you have to have, that's going to be what will build authority up, is backlinks. Google will always need something to know what is more authoritative, what's getting the most votes, and that's going to be backlinks. You know, on page, all of that stuff can be manipulated so easily to outrank, you know, poor quality content can easily outrank good quality content with decent on-page SEO if backlinks weren't important. So you do definitely need to do backlinks. You just need to be careful what kind of backlinks you build and just make sure that they're obviously good quality and relevant. Do you sell affiliate links, and what's your view on them over selling a physical product? Do you sell affiliate links, and what's your view on selling a physical product? Not fully sure, to be honest. Sell affiliate links. Yeah, if you could just explain a little bit more on what you mean, because as more as we do, you know, the offers in the network are physical products. So yeah, we as a network, we sell products. Yeah, just explain maybe a little bit more what you mean. So yeah, next Monday I'll do another training session. So like I said, if anything you want to know, pop in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help. Cool. Do you think selling software over a product is better? No worries. There's no better, or you know, it's whatever your audience is looking for. So if you are, you know, if you have a site where software is the most prominent thing that people are looking for, then that, you know, promote that software. So it depends on what the niche is and what research you've done into that niche. It's completely different as well, because when I look at software, I've never done software at all. So when I look at software, it is a continually changing thing. So if you were doing a site on the best video editing software, for instance, that might change on a regular basis. There might be new ones. The actual trends might change, so it might be popular at a certain time of the year. And the same with physical products. So it's all relative on what traffic is and what your audience is looking for. You can definitely have both. So you can definitely have you know, your physical products. So if it's weight loss, for instance, you can have your best XYZ pages on weight loss pills. You could then also have best weight loss apps. So you can have both. But I think it's just see what is most popular in that niche and focus on that, and whatever, you know, your website is about, really. So where's the best place to buy links? Good question. It's, I mean, at the moment I am testing Rank Club for PBN links. That's one that I'm testing at the moment. I'm testing SEO Butler for citations. I've got a few backlinks from authority builders, and a lot of the links that I'm doing personally, I'm doing them myself. So I'm doing a lot of manual stuff. I've heard good things about Get Me Links in the past. I've not used them myself, but I've heard good things about them. So yeah, there's some good places. There's a lot of places. There's some to avoid. Personally, I'd avoid Fiverr 100%. We've used the Hoff in the past, and I don't think we saw very good results from that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we didn't see great results from that. So it's just a case of looking at reviews and testing different things. But a lot of what I do, I try to build naturally myself, just because then I have more control over that. Obviously, maybe later down the line as I scale more and more, then I'd look at additional services. But like I said, the ones I've tried are Rank Club, SEO Butler, and Authority Builders. There are a lot of press release sites are not giving us space on first page of Google, so what should I do? So a lot of those will focus on your main biggest competitive keywords. So this is where you do your keyword research and look for more long tail variations, and start building content out in the long tail keywords that are a lot less competitive, and do a lot of funneling on your site as well. So a lot of the press release sites are on the buyer terms, so look at building content around the more informational keywords and then funnel the traffic through down into your buyer's content. And that's the best way at the moment. Obviously, the press release sites on the first page are mostly there from the last Google update. So the last core update in December, I believe it was. So I would expect the next Google update that might shuffle a little bit. It might shuffle a bit as they dial down certain things for the ranking algorithm. So I'd be prepared for some of them to move in the next core update, hopefully, because a lot of them, some of the sites that are ranking don't necessarily make sense to be ranking. So I'd be prepared for that, and yeah, just work on more long tail content, informational, get your funneling going on site as well. And ultimately, hate to say it sometimes, but if you can't beat them, join them and look at what PR sites you can potentially get links on, content on, and all that stuff. But I would expect the search results to vary over the next couple of updates. But yeah, definitely look at the funneling of your content, getting long tail and informational. I think that's best in long-term results as well. If you've got a good funnel set up, then that's just going to help overall sales, and it's going to be capturing a lot of sales that other competitors aren't doing. So should I use press release? That's completely up to yourself, to be fair. I mean, you can do if that's part of your marketing plan. I do think it will, the results will change over time. But if you've got the means to do that, the money to do that, and that's what's working at the moment, then do it. Ultimately, you've got to do what's working. Expired domains, they're still working incredibly well. So people, you've got to do what's working, but then also think long term. So we will be coming up to a Google core update in May. I believe it'll be May, especially when the speed, the web core values gets added into it. So I would definitely take that into consideration. Now, no one knows what will happen with the search results, but you just got to think long term as well. And whether the search results at the moment is what will be there in 6, 7, 8 months. But if you can make the most of it now, then why not? Ultimately, sales for you is sales for us. So we want to do what we can do to get all of our affiliates making sales, because that's the main way we make money. Cool. So if we have no more questions, then I will end it there. Obviously, thank you everyone that came live. Really appreciate it. Definitely appreciate all the questions. It's really nice to get questions to obviously answer them, and it really helps make these live streams really valuable for me as well, just because you want to be asking questions. You don't want to just be be talking to yourself. So it's really good to answer any questions that I get. And like I say, next week we'll do another one on Monday, 11 o'clock. And yeah, if you're on Facebook watching the recording, go onto YouTube, subscribe. I'm going to say again, keep subscribing because that helps it grow. And yeah, until next week, have a great week, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye.